Hey, morning guys. I'm looking at Zyme here. The daily looks pretty crazy. It went all the way down here. I don't know if that's, yeah, it actually did go all the way,
Time.
started here, went all the way down here, coming back up. You can see that I can draw a trend line right here and the 46.90, very close to 47. Go to the 15 here, you can see a lot better. It touches this area a lot. Wait, right here, yeah. And then there's another trend line up here and pretty high up there. So the range is significant. Gotta put that in mind if you consider the amount of shares that you put in. What's going on, Tanner? One second, guy. I just called you guy. My bad. 1 second, man. I'm just looking at this Zyme, ZYME. I want to see more volume come in, but it is in that area that I liked. The 4690s right here. Let's just draw a line for you guys. So it's like right there. But of course, we can draw another one dangerously up here, somewhere around here. Yeah. So look at that action that happened today. This would have been a really nice bounce, but you know. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me. What do I think about Tesla? Tesla looks good. I had a friend tell me how Tesla went down due to something. I think they didn't quite make enough vehicles, so they were behind on in the factories, and that's when it went down. I think. Can't remember, but yeah, that would have been a great time to swing it because it's very hard to go short on Tesla. So Zyme, still the volume is very small down here.
Time.
I like how Zyme is hitting my trade ideas now. So it's starting to hit the parameters that I like. But again, volume is not quite there. So I want people to notice this stock before I get in on it. Did it touch 47? Yep, it touched 47. Now it's going down. It's 25 cents away. 25-cent risk, which means if you put 500 shares in, you're risking $100 roughly. Looking at the 5 minute, where could it go? So from there, I just need to know what kind of potential does it have? Where would it come back to? And it could come back to here, 46.50s. So Talking about like a little over 20 cents. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio if you look at it that way. So if you guys watch my videos, I always look at the dailies, 15s, 5s, and the 1s, and I keep going back and forth as we keep watching the stock, just to refresh and reset our minds so we know we're not chasing. So it does have, look at these wicks here that it creates. It does have the potential to come up to here in the 4760s. So I have to be diligent. And careful here. And make sure I don't hop in on one of these actions right here, because then it'll be a scalp. Either that or a loss, a big loss, because you're thinking it's going to come back down. Let's see if it breaks 47. It is crazy what happened this morning with Zion right here. How it started here, went all the way down to the 36s. And there was news this morning. Right here, under trade ideas. So possibly they thought it was bad news, but it wasn't that bad, so it went back up. And it's moving without me. Hmm. And it's pretty much that time, guys. It's lunchtime for a lot of people. For me, it's just waking up. Just to fill in the silence here, I'll just talk about my psychology about trading when it comes to Mondays and the past week. I just started this live stream last week, and it did well. I was green. Um, Honestly, when you trade for yourself and you're not in a chat or you're not talking, I do very well. I mean, I do not very well, but I do a little bit better than I do when I'm chatting. But sometimes, um, just being able to sit back and talk to you guys actually helps out my trading, and it actually did last week. So I'm just feeling it out here. I have a lot of good friends wanting me to get on the chat so they can talk to me. So I'm messaging back and forth with them and telling them what I think. Damn it, this thing's already moved. At least it's already in the clear, right? So entry would have been right here, but kept getting faked out, right? I was talking about it when it was like 4670s. Now it's already in the 46s, so it's done. It's done without me, which really sucks. Yeah. So in this case, this is more like a 3-to-1 ratio. Right now it is. If you talk about the highs of 47 with a 25, 26 cent risk, and now it's in the 46s. But the signal wasn't very clear, right? So it's better, better careful. But like I said, the market always, regardless if you win or lose or just stay in the sidelines, you feel like a loser all the time. Put you in check. But yesterday, psychologically, I was anticipating the market. I wanted to jump in. So what do I do on a Monday today? I wake up late. And that's almost intentional psychologically because you don't want to come in hyperactive. That's when you take trades that are unnecessary and you're not vigilant enough to be able to identify what's right and what's wrong. So the movers in the morning are the ones that can really get you, right? Emotionally, at least for me, because like I say, well, like everybody says, you're not supposed to be an emotional trader. But I'm a sensitive guy. So whenever I feel like I'm going to be emotional about something, I turn things around. I don't want to trade in the morning. And last week really messed me up in the head. Regardless if I was green or not, um, the amount of effort I put into trading, it's my printer. The amount of effort I put in my trading really put me into like some kind of PTSD action going on in the weekends. My wife can tell you all about it, but she's not. I get a crash after trading. Even if I tell you that I'm emotionless, I'm actually going to feel it the next day. I'm going to feel the amount of my body hasn't fully recovered from the war, so to speak. It's like it hits you afterwards. Like you're in that mode of war all the time, and it is actually PTSD in that kind of sense. And I do take medications similar, or I'm actually prescribed medications similar to that, where you're able to block the amount of stress while you're trading, but when you actually get into the zone, you don't even know that you're in the war anymore until the weekend comes around and you have nothing to trade, and then it hits you really hard. I wonder if you guys ever felt that before, like an after party, a crash. So yeah, Zyme is done. It may come down again. You see that volume? So it's testing this area now, and yeah, it's in that area right here. So it's safe to say that if you were in it at that area that I spoke of, then it would be nice to either you're gonna want to break even, or you're gonna like sell cover some and then just keep some for the continuing movement. What's going on, Diamox Dorime? Dorime? I don't know what that means. What's going on, Merch? Para? Yep, lots of sleepless nights and anxiety when you're down. Yeah. I'm kind of the opposite. Um, that's a really good. Yeah, but that totally makes sense. When you're down, when you're red, then you have some sleepless nights. But you know what? It's done. And when things are done, unless you're doing a swing trade, when things are done, you can only go one way, right? When you hit rock bottom, then you go back up. So when you're on top, for me, it's when you're green all the time, and you feel that it's really hard to sustain, and then a lot of stress builds because you know there's a red day coming around. I mean, when you do the spreadsheet and you find out that you're in counter trading that you're roughly 90%, and you've already have not nine green, you're almost jinxing yourself knowing that there's that one that's coming and it's going to hit you really hard. I already had mine on Friday, but it wasn't hard, so it could come around again. So that's just, yeah, that's trading. You you just what do they say? You can't you can't wait for Friday to come around, and you can't wait for Monday to come back. Something like that. So yeah, you could tell right here in this chart, highs and lows, everything's just trickling to like be just the 3 alerts per second, which is really low. Um, Action's dead right now, is because it's lunchtime. So I'm gonna close this because unless you guys have any more questions, if you have any more questions, I'll just wait for about half a minute, and then I'll try to answer what I can. But more or less, unless Trade Ideas tells me something, I'm pretty much done. If you guys haven't already, be sure to check out Newbie Trading. This is where I'll post some of what I'm watching or what I'm actually going to enter. There are some really good traders on here that you should, if you're interested in learning how to trade similar to me. Jeremy Newby's really good at this stuff. I feel like I'm a broken book, but if you check out Jeremy Newby's J Newby's Instagram, you can he likes to post his flying. He's a pilot, and his wins and losses. He does really good for himself. It's pretty awesome like that. And this is his chat room on Discord. So if you look up Newbie Trading on Google, and you can find this Discord chat room, and you can follow us along.
Here's a Reddit result.
Did you hear that? My phone actually responded to when I say Google. So get on that, because when I type this in, according to Turf, YouTube has a 20-second delay. So when I say that I'm watching Zyme or what I'm doing, it's already 20 seconds prior to that I actually posted it on Discord. And Jeremy Newby's long on CONE. That's my dog choking on a bone. He's going long on Cone, and he added on Momo just not too long ago. Actually, like 30 minutes ago. Wow, time flies when you're doing nothing, right? So, merch, nice. I know you mentioned that you were a math teacher in the other videos. Much respect to you, Albert. Thanks, man. Uh, I'm Asian, so gotta be good at math, right? Actually, I was average compared to my friends in math when I was in high school, or, all through school. I was good, but I wasn't great, stereotypically for an Asian. So I had to try harder. And, the best thing about being a teacher, or not the best thing, a good teacher is a teacher that always learns, right? So when you go to school to become an educator, and then you teach in school, you learn how to teach better because you actually had to try. Unlike some of those other people that are just, seeing colors and shapes in their head and all of a sudden get the answer, and they won't even know how to explain to you how they got the answer. I'm actually pretty good at explaining things, I think. So that's why, and that's my thing. I just really enjoy teaching. So helping you guys get in my head to figure out what I'm thinking about something I'm pretty good at is, a pleasure to me. So it's not a problem. And that's why my main profession has switched over. Well, not switched over. I have two things that I love, and that's teaching overall. But trading is something that always keeps bread on the table, and teaching dogs and clients how to work with their dogs is a passion. And it's just two things that I have to do in life. Thanks for commenting, Merch Para. But yeah, you can tell Zyme has pretty much hit that area right here. It may actually do this little bounce here. Jeremy Newby just sold 100 cone on cone. Look at that. Look at that, guys. So he did a bounce here. Down here, and I don't know where he entered. Long cone at 6160 according to Discord. 6160. He even entered a little bit late and he made a very nice amount of money, I think. He even said 100 shares of cone. He's even sharing how much he's. A lot of people don't do that, guys, because some people just don't know when not to follow the amount of shares that they're doing. He's willing. I won't share it, but he does. So he saw this right here, that it went down, it went up, it consolidated. It actually created a very long bull flag here. You see how it like, and then it popped back up, which is not my kind of shape, but it does have the right shape in the fives. See that? And you can see the amount of resistance by the volume down here. So that's pretty awesome, JDB. So when that happens, then you gotta go on Discord and you gotta give them a clap. Oh, look at that. You get to choose the color of the clap. So I'm Asian, so I'm using the yellow clap. All right. Yeah, Zyme is still going sideways. Looks like it may go back up. Well, if it, I'll tell you what. That must be a southern thing that people say. I'll tell you what. It's very possible that it could go higher, like up to here. Oh, they already hit 47, didn't it? It could go up to here, my next trend line, if it decides to, if the market decides to move. Hey, what's going on, Smear? But right now it's not moving. Check out this chart up here in the top right. It's just dead. And Jeremy Newby just posted that he sold another 100. And that guy he just told us that he has 1,300 shares left. Guys, this is a $60 stock. This is a $60 stock. 1,300 shares. That means for most of us, that's over 3/4 of a $100,000 account, right? Roughly. And it's spiking up. So that's why he sold it, because when you see something move that quickly, be weary, because it's past this trend line right here. But I'm pretty sure he sees this line right here, up here in the 6240s. And that could be one of his goals. I don't know, I'm sure. He just sold 300 more at 6210. According to Discord right here. That was a great look. And it's still moving up. So I'm going to call this line right here. Right here, because of the trend line. I'll go by the trend line rather than the VWAP. But I'm not sure. Momo. Oh, Jeremy Newby's also a Momo, yeah. So the question is, do you want to sell it all? But look at the volume here. It's still low. So there isn't much resistance, even though it's showing red, there isn't much resistance suggesting it's going to go down. The suggestion, a very strong suggestion would be when the volume starts moving up, then you know it's going to start, there'll be a battle between traders to decide which way to go. And either it's going to spike up more, or it's going to go down. It's up to you to decide. But it looks like it wants to hit this trend line. Let me look at Momo somewhere. Oh. That's a really strong stock. What do I think of Momo? Momo's really close to 41. That's my initial thought, Samir. So something like that, being so close to 41 and about to break the highs. Let me just show you guys what I'm talking about. Okay, so first off, let's look at the daily, right? Daily 1-year chart, zoom in, look at that huge ass green candle that climbs all the way up to here. From all the way in the 37s to the 40s. It has a long way back. So if you're in it for a short, like Jeremy Newby is, don't put all your shares in unless you've had a really good signal. I'm not sure if Jeremy Newby did, but being up here, you know that. Okay, there was more back there. Oh, that's 2 minute. I bet. Sorry. Okay, right here. Look at this is like a weekly chart. So it's actually hitting this very high area right here. This candle high was 40.88, and right now our high was 40.86. This is actually an interesting area to enter because enter for short, and it actually touched that 40.86 twice. What is it? 40.83 is the high. I mean, is the current 1 minute high, 15-minute high? If I were going to stay trading right now, I would say from what I see that it's a good entry right now. But I mean, I would like to see a signal. But like I said, that's a 2 minute. Keep doing that. Where's that weekly chart? There it is. Look at the weekly chart, and you'll see this candle right here have a 40.88. And you can kind of draw a trend line here. This is an interesting area, suggesting that it doesn't want to go any higher. There's a resistance area right there. So, but you know, if I were just glancing at it, I would say it may want 41. So, if you were going to be trading throughout the day, maybe throw in a little bit. Expect a possible chance for it to hit 41. But, you know, the daily's candle is ridiculous. It's got to come back a little bit. That's what I think. And Jeremy's taking a lot of action right now on Cone because of the movement. Look at that movement as it climbs closer and closer to that red line, that line that I created. He's just taking a little bit by bit out because it seems to be dying a bit. There is no real volume suggesting that it's going to reverse. It looks like it just. Oh, here it is right here. He sees this line right here. The 62 trend line. Look, if you're in the 15-minute, you can see this trend line right here where it touches here, here, and here. And it's the 62.23s, and it passed it up already. So there's going to be resistance for it to want to come back a little bit. That's why he's selling some, I think. Jeremy, if you can confirm if what I'm saying is kind of what you're thinking. Just PM me. She, just scaling out. Okay, thank you, Jeremy. Thank you for that very generalized answer. Oh, okay. As we are near VWAP. Okay, there's the answer I'm looking for. Okay, there's so and it's Samir, there's your answer with for Momo. It touched that area again with a high of a 4087, which is really close to that 4088, and it tanked with very little. It just tanked. It didn't even give you a signal, did it? So if you guys want to see the VWAP, go into studies, all studies, look at VWAP is right here. So the purple line. The great thing about VWAP, guys, when it compared to like using the 9 exponential moving average or the 9 EMA or other types of forms is using as a signal, the VWAP stays the same regardless which time frame you're at. If you're in the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, the VWAP stays the same. So, wow, guys, look, you should look at Momo. It's dropping really good now. It's something to remember. But of course, I wasn't here. Well, actually, it was. I called it, but I didn't enter because I don't want to be here forever. I didn't think I was going to be on this stream for longer than this. However long I've been on so far. But I'm not even trading, guys, and I'm having fun just watching stocks. I'm watching Jeremy and the rest of the crew and newbie trading, but they're quiet right now, so I'm not sure what. They're probably just they're probably in with him. Bear is a really good trader as well, and Double Dip has some really good suggestions. So it's really nearing that VWAP, and the cool thing about that VWAP, guys, is you can multiply on its authenticity or its importance by seeing if that VWAP is actually at a trend line. And here's one right here. Here's a little area where it touches here and here. It's a little bit higher than the VWAP by about within 10 cents. And see how it passed up my red line. Bear is down for the day. Oh, okay. Samir, in regard to risk management, how do you manage to trade when it goes against you? At what point do you decide to completely bail? And how do you then recover the loss? Don't think about recovering the loss. That's when you, well, that's how I see things. I don't want to ever think about how do I get back at this stock. So I never think about recovery, unless it still looks good. That's why I keep changing, scaling at different time frames. One day chart, 15-minute, 5-minute, 1 minute, over and over again, just to make sure that I'm not in it to chase or to get back at revenge trade, right? So whenever recover comes to mind, at least in my head, when I say recover from this stock, sometimes it's better to recover using a different stock, so a stock that looks better, right? So, but the first part of your question, how do you manage to trade when it goes against you? Well, you kind of see that in Friday when that one stock that uh, I I got in without knowing that it was a gold. It was related to gold, which was I even said it in there, and yet I stayed in because thinking that it could come back. And thanks to I think it was Bear or was it OJ? Um, Somebody in the chat while I was out and I left some of the shares in told me that take a look back and it actually came back, but it didn't come back the way I wanted to. It went, let me see if I do it went up and then I entered at a bad area and then I called that it was going to hit a high and then trickle down. Instead, it hit that high, passed that high, hit the other one that I said was ridiculously high, and then it went down. So it really depends on how many shares you have in. If you're going to manage a stock that is half-ass when it comes to your parameters, then don't use the full amount of shares that you would regularly trade. In other words, if you usually want to risk $500 on a stock, and this one has okay parameters, like it fits maybe 2 out of 4 of your the things that you need to trade the stock, then put in half, risk only $250 worth. That's how I would see it. And then keep looking back. If it looks like it's still good or it looks like it's getting better, then you may want to double down on it or scale out and then add 3/4 or 1 3/4 of the amount of shares at the top where you think it's going to go. That gets tricky, Samir. That is always the hardest question to answer. And that's also one of the, and because it's so hard to answer, I don't have a very good answer for you. Because some of it is emotional when you're trading. Well, a lot of it's emotional, right? It's not like you start off trading and you think you're going to be able to fix what's wrong. Because when you think about fixing what's wrong, you end up with the mindset that you have to aim for 100%. And when you aim for 100%, most likely you're going to fail. Because in trading, it's the B and C students that do better at trading than the straight A student, which really sucks for a lot of people because it's the smart people that have the hardest time with your question. Yeah, that dog is really. You okay? So, how to manage a trade? I think the first thing is to have the proper mindset. To convince yourself that failing is okay, but you can't fail too much, right? So be sure to win the war. Not. It's okay to lose the battle, as long as you win the war. So convince yourself. If you're a straight A student, Samir, which you probably possibly were in high school, try to convince yourself that it's okay to lose. That to me is the simplest and most practical answer to being successful near the end as you journey at becoming a professional. Or professional is such a silly word, but you know what I mean. Jeremy's really holding on to this thing. The VWAP is already passed, but there is no signal, and it's looking great. Yeah, right, Samir. And then, for a lot of successful people, we can convince ourselves that we'll be fine, and then we can continue telling ourselves psychologically that still looks good. It still looks good. So, what do you do then? You gotta be pessimistic and tell yourself you're not gonna do well. The best thing to do is to keep looking at that chart over and over again, and tell yourself that it's okay to lose. That is okay. So I'm looking at cone here, and it is hitting this trend line, this resistance line right here, where it's looking like it may want to go red. That is a really good area to scale out some more, in my opinion. All right, so yeah, I think I've been on this chat a little too long. I mean, this stream a little too long for no trades. And look at that. Look at this chart. It's not getting any it's not getting any prettier. Actually, a little bit. It looks like it's going a little bit more green here, but still, it's there's no volatility today. Um, the lady in Trade Ideas is completely quiet. So I may come back around 2 and then see what's there. But right now, most likely everybody's tired over the weekend and having their lunch or coming back soon. So yeah, you're very welcome, Smear. I'm glad I can help. So I may come back later because I feel kind of empty without a trade. So I'll check y'all later. All right.